Protect your car with 3W Liners all-weather floor mats. Made from durable materials like TPE and rubber, our mats are designed to withstand rain, snow, and mud with deep grooves to trap dirt and liquids. For a custom fit and advanced protection, visit 3W Liners. That's the number 3, WLINERS.com today. At Acasis, innovation drives us. Since 2008, we've been creating cutting-edge technology products that make your life easier. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit Acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farms, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com. Unlock a world of convenience with Mully Box, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. From gourmet snacks to unique finds, each box is tailored to your tastes. Experience the joy of surprises. Subscribe today at mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.
Welcome aboard. The Red Sox are alive again. It's the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network on this Thursday. And yes, the Red Sox have made a deal. Was it the deal we all thought? No, but I mean, pretty good anyway. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk with Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast today, and we'll revisit the Sacco versus the schedule debate with a clear winner in that one that we were both kind of right about. And then we will, of course, talk about the other breaking news from yesterday that really shook the world even more than Garrett Crochet. Bill Belichick, Chapel Hill Bill. Some would even say Chapel Bill to North Carolina. He's going to have his press conference shortly after our show ends today. Banana Land, just Twilight Zone type of stuff. Bill Belichick at North Carolina. Wow. Anyway, yes, finally, it has happened. The Red Sox have gone out and gotten a starting pitcher. A big-time starting pitcher, a potential ace starting pitcher in Garrett Crochet. It rocks, actually. Despite what you're going to hear on Sports Talk Radio, it actually rocks that they got Garrett Crochet. In a trade with the White Sox, obviously feels very similar to the Chris Sale trade, sans the fact that Chris Sale was already a Cy Young level pitcher. But you trade two of your top prospects, but not your very top prospects. Kyle Teal and Braden Montgomery out the door with a couple other guys too. But no one off your major league roster and none of your, I would say top three protected prospects. I mean, really, we were looking at it as a core four, and Kyle Teal was one of those four. But you're trading a guy who just made it to AAA for a guy who will be competing for the Cy Young Award. So, I mean, it's the old saying, right? Parades are better than prospects. I couldn't find anything to be like, oh, this actually sucks. They shouldn't have done this trade. Try as the afternoon sports shows might have. I did listen to Felger and Maz after this happened because, as much as we love podcasts and love what we do on YouTube, when something breaks, I want the live, raw reaction. And Sports Talk Radio can still give you that. Now, if something breaks between noon and 1 Eastern time, we've got you. But I needed that kind of instant reaction. And of course, it was just all negative, just how bad this deal was for the Red Sox. It just became how they don't spend money. And we'll get to that in this segment here because there is something to be said for that could rear its ugly head for the next deal that the Red Sox do. But we also were saying yesterday that if you don't get Corbin Burnes, Seattle and Chicago are going to hold you over a barrel and hold you hostage. And the Red Sox, I thought wisely, got ahead of that and said, all right, we'll go and get our guy. You didn't trade Roman Anthony. You didn't trade Marcelo Meyer, and you didn't trade Christian Campbell. And you got what is proving to be one of the top pitchers, one of the top starters of baseball in terms of stuff. You want your Tarik Skubal, this is your guy. Now, the obvious knock is he hasn't had much experience. He's really had one full season starting at the major league level, and that was this past year with the worst team in the history of baseball. But he was an all-star this past year and got up to 146 innings. It's a guy who had Tommy John 2 years ago. It was kind of eased back in 23. He had the surgery in 22. 23, he comes in, and he's just doing some bullpen work for them. And then 24, he's a starter for the first time in his major league career and throws 146 innings. You know what the next step is? 170, 180 innings, which is what you're going to get from a top-line starter in 2025. He was an all-star last year. Wins record doesn't do much because he played for the White Sox, 6-12. But with a FIP under 3 and his strikeout numbers just gaudy. 209 strikeouts in 146 innings. This guy is nasty. Nasty. Lou Merlone called him a pig because he's so dirty. And that is a good way to put it. I mean, again, you see Tarik Skubal, or you see, dare I say, someone like a Chris Sale. Garrett Crochet has those attributes. That's your 2 Cy Young winners from 2024 right there. Does he have Chris Sale's slider? No. Does he have Tarek Skubal's changeup? No, but he's got the best fastball cutter combo in all of baseball. He throws it overwhelmingly. I mean, his four-seamer, he throws almost double his cutter, which is his second best pitch. But the baseball savant page is just gross, man. His fastball run value's in the 98th percentile. His chase and whiff percentage, both in the 93rd percentile, because his strikeout rate is in the 98th percentile. 96, 97 on the black with some movement time after time, Cindy Lauper. This kid's legit, man. I cannot believe there are Red Sox fans out there that hate this deal. Like, this guy, he's going to come in, and once he's throwing 170, 180 innings, he's going to be one of the best starters in all of baseball. You will have your Chris Sale deal. And by the way, he's 25. He's got 2 more years of team control. You've got all kinds of options with this kid. He was babied with the White Sox, which is understandable in 2024, coming off the Tommy John surgery. He didn't pitch into the 5th inning until like June of this past year. And then he was working on stuff on the back end of the season when the White Sox were chasing the all-time loss record. And it's like, hey, let's just see what you got, kid. He was incorporating a sinker into his repertoire. And it worked pretty well for a guy who only threw it 50 times. His ground ball rate is incredible, especially for a guy who throws majority fastball, almost exclusively fastball. And again, the swing and miss stuff is disgusting, just disgusting. He handcuffs hitters. And I've got people out there saying, oh, well, you gave up Kyle Teel and you don't really have a catcher right now. You made the deal, you made the trade on December 11th. So, okay, the only catcher you have on December 11th is Connor Wong. Who gives a shit, man? You can go out and get a catcher. Easy. You don't just easily go out there and get an ace starting pitcher, which is what they just did. And it wasn't easy. You had to give up one of the best catching prospects in baseball. And a guy I like in Kyle Teel. I know there are some holes there, and they kind of fast-tracked him to Worcester last year. But I'm okay giving up a guy who's not played in the major leagues for what could be an ace on a major league rotation. I mean, we went through the projected starting rotation yesterday with Cooper Criswell and Dick Fitz and Cutter Crawford. I would say Garrett Crochet is an upgrade on that. Because the first thing the Red Sox needed to do, I mean, first and foremost and almost exclusively, was make your 2025 team better. Your 2027 team is going to have some talent there. We already knew that. You replenish the farm system. You need to make your 2025 team better. And that's what they did by getting Garrett Crochet. And if the kid's healthy, which no reason to believe he won't be, by what? Memorial Day? I don't think there will be any naysayers. Anybody who say, boy, I really wish we had Kyle Teel right now. I don't think so. I think he's that good. Now, the other thing that concerns me, and back to the kind of the Felger point of all of this, which was annoying to hear yesterday, and I think it will be a concern if there's another move that happens, is you can still be critical of ownership for not spending money. They needed a top-end starting pitcher. There were 3 free agents on the market. You've already missed on 2 of them, and the pitcher you got is one that you got in a trade. You're giving up assets rather than money, which all it is money. This is the Boston Red Sox, man. And so I understand that from a perspective of you don't get a Corbin Burnes and you do trade for another pitcher. That's where I think it's a mistake. You've done your trade for a pitcher. And I know, the Kirbys and the Gilberts of Seattle are going to be enticing. And you'll say, well, we only traded 2 of our top 10 prospects. We've got a couple more to dangle out there. We've got 2 major leaguers who were top 5 Rookie of the Year finalists the last 2 years. We could still dangle those. That, I think, is where we're losing the point a little bit. Because, again, you've got money, just burning holes in your pocket. You know, that perspective I just laid out of, hey, we could still trade these other guys, that's the Kansas City mindset. That's the Baltimore mindset. That should not be the Red Sox mindset, nor the Dodgers, nor the Yankees, nor the Mets. Shouldn't be the mindset. You've got money to spend, finally. I mean, you had money to spend anyway, but now you have no excuse to really not spend money. I would so much rather go out there and buy Corbin Burnes, a 30-year-old, sure, but a guy who has proven it at the major league level time and time and time again. Cy Young winner, top 5 Cy Young finishes each of the last 5 years. That guy, you can go out there and just buy him. You don't have to give up your car or your house. You can just go and buy him. He's not on sale, but all it costs you is money. You don't have to trade anything. If you go out there and you trade for a Gilbert or a Kirby, and you do send out, you know, a Casas or an Abreu or a Christian Campbell or Marcelo Meyer, that's a mistake, because that is going back on everything you've built. Like, I'm not saying don't ever trade prospects. In fact, I'm glad they just did, but don't trade all your prospects in one offseason. That to me is not smart business when you have money to spend. The trade prospects of these guys, and I know that's kind of a jumble, the trade prospects of these prospects should be this year or next year on July 30th. If you need something to get you over the hump, get you into the postseason, get you into the World Series, and there are some big-time names available, that's when I'm comfortable trading those guys again. You've already traded some of your prospects, okay? And you've got all this money. There would be no reason to go out there and not buy one of these starting pitchers and instead trade for them. So I would even go as far as saying, if you go out and trade for one of these guys, one of these pitchers, and you're using some of your big-time capital, that would show what we already have an inkling of, and that is a major disconnect between the ownership and the GM's office, and potentially a major disconnect from ownership, the GM's office, to the manager. Because we're already hearing about, you know, guys that the GM want or doesn't want that the manager does want, Alex Bregman. And so we already know there's some disconnect there. And some of the quotes that Craig Breslow has had in the media has definitely led us to believe that there's a disconnect between his office and ownership. You know, he was asked about the Max Fried deal. Would you go 8 years for a starter? He said, well, I would, sure. You know, but I guess that's not the only person who has a say in this thing. The GM is not the only one. So if you go out there and trade for a Kirby or a Gilbert, I think that would once again prove that there's a disconnect there, because what it would show is Breslow wants to do whatever to bring in the starters to improve this team. But if you do it through 2 trades with 3 big-time free agent starters on the market, that will show you that ownership is still not willing to spend money. And that would be really damning, because you saw how long it took, man. I mean, Dombrowski came in here and did what Dombrowski does. He guts the farm system. And it worked out perfect, right? I mean, you got your World Series. Anderson Espinoza didn't turn out to be anything. Yohan Moncada's a bust. Michael Kopech's a nice closer for the worst team in the league and then gets traded, wins the World Series with the Dodgers. He's a fine reliever. But you traded him as your best pitching prospect. They were hoping to get 2 all-stars there, one of them being a starting pitcher. They didn't. So it all worked out in terms of the Red Sox winning the World Series. But it took 5 years at least and 2 GMs later to rebuild that farm system to where it is today. You don't just gut that all in one offseason. There's limits to this shit, okay? I don't mind getting rid of prospects for parades, but you can't just throw them all out there in one offseason when you have the money to spend. To me, that's heinous, that's irresponsible, and it would show, once again, a pretty clear disconnect between the ownership and the general manager. But for right now, as Red Sox fans, this is a good day. Don't let anybody tell you different. This is a good day. You went out there and got one of the nastiest pitchers in baseball, and you didn't touch Meyer, Anthony, nor Campbell. But it does still, have that air over it of, it's been 9 years now. It's been 9 years since you went out and got a top-of-the-market free agent. 9 years. At least pitcher. I'm not really counting Trevor Story as top of the market, even though he got a pretty good deal. David Price was the last one you went out and got. That's not the Red Sox, I know. That's not the Red Sox. That's not how the Red Sox built championship teams. No, sir. I know they use some Moneyball aspects to it, but Moneyball's not about being cheap. It's about having value and getting the right guys. And they built those World Series teams on big-time free agents along with some big splash trades. I've mentioned the pitching trades before. Pedro, you sent out 2 of your best prospects, including Carl Pavano, your best pitching prospect. Josh Beckett, you trade Anibal Sanchez, your best pitching prospect, and Hanley Ramirez, who was going to be he was one of the best prospects in baseball at the time. You trade both those guys, but you also you signed guys like John Lackey. You signed guys like David Price. You traded 2 of your best guys for Chris Sale. The Red Sox have not been able to develop pitching in 20 years. So you need to get him at all costs, and that's what they did with Garrett Crochet. Now, if they trade for another one, then there's some concern or more concern that this ownership just does not have the balls to spend any money. But I'm not ready to go down such a negative road yet. We've already done it for 9 years. Today is a day to be appreciative that Garrett Crochet is a Boston Red Sox. I'm not super appreciative of what the Boston Bruins are doing to me this year. And we're going to talk about that, the Sacco versus schedule debate with Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast. That's coming up next on The Cam Show.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is Stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Ready to bring your vision to life? At Small Rig, every idea, design, and product is inspired by you, the creator. With our industry-first under co-design mode and the Dream Rig free customization project, we unite with global creators to turn big dreams into reality. Whether it's a cage rig or mount, Small Rig's versatile gear is built to elevate your craft. Small Rig, where your creativity meets our innovation. Go to
Want to turn your passion into profit? With Blogify, creating a blog has never been easier. Build, customize, and grow your site with powerful tools designed for beginners and pros alike. Start sharing your story today and watch your audience grow with Blogify. Download Blogify now in the App Store. Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com.
Welcome to a special edition of the Doomsday Podcast. Look at this. We got one of the great golfers in the world, certainly one of the great pass rushers in NFL history.
But he also had a vision for you. And so it was like you had the best of both worlds, right? You had somebody on you early, and then you had somebody who was maybe
more relaxed. What were a couple of your biggest takeaways? The person you referred to that I spoke with, I've spoken to some personnel people and general managers of the league to get some, independent, objective assessments of the players the Cowboys picked, and we'll go through that. Has the general manager changed at all in the draft room?
Nope, it's been the same since I was here the last time.
Welcome back. Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. Matt Barry of the Bruins Benders podcast joining, as he always does, on Thursdays. And Matt, I saw the AM lines this morning for tonight's game against Seattle. Jeremy Swayman still listed as goalie number 1. Sounds like he'll get another start. And it reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons where Bart and Nelson and Milhouse and Martin are on that road trip and they keep annoying the car next to them. And the dad is like, that's it. I'm turning this car around back to Winnipeg. That's going to be the Joe Sacco punishment line. Is this punishment to just keep putting Swayman out there? I mean, it's okay, but is it punishment?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? That they're saying, hey, you fought us for all this money, then you're the guy come hell or high water. Like, that's it. Like, if you're going to give up 8, you're going back out there again. I'm really surprised he's going back out there, especially where Korpisalo's played okay. Like, fine. So I'm really surprised they haven't gone tandem to get him right, meaning Swayman. And I think it really just seems like it's just like this dig to him. Like, you're going to figure it out because we're paying you a lot of money.
It felt like if it was last year before he became an RFA, like there was going to be a Patrick Waugh moment, because we've seen him now, gave up 7 against Dallas, all 7. And was he in that Carolina game? I think that was him as well.
That was him as well.
7 there and 8 the other night against Winnipeg without getting pulled once. Like, for as much as the Bruins are going to be, classy and Marchand's going to say, we don't talk about the contracts and stuff, and that's not a dig or whatever. It has to feel like that at some point of like, and maybe it's a message to everyone, of like, hey, we're not going to just pull the goalie to light a fire under your ass. You guys are going to have to light a fire under your own asses, because right now they're bullies, man. They beat up on the weak, and they don't just lose to good teams. They get their shit pummeled by good teams. Like, this has happened 3 or 4 times this year. Anytime they play someone in a playoff position, not only are they not going to beat them, but they're going to get their shit rocked.
Yeah, this is the alarming thing, right? I mean, it's not that they're losing in shootouts or they're losing 1-goal games or just can't get over the hump. They're getting killed. Like, they're getting murdered by these really good teams, and they're beating the poor teams, which you have to do. And I'll tell you what, that's going to be the saving grace. That's what's going to get them into the playoffs, is that there's enough bad teams to beat, and they're kind of in the middle. They're slightly better than the bad, and they're not nearly as good as the good. So it's just going to get them to skate right in, because the people behind them, the teams behind them are, Ottawa and Detroit, and, it's just, those teams aren't going to be as good as they are, as long as the Bruins stay away from injury and don't completely collapse. I think they're still going to make the playoffs, but it's just not going to be pretty come playoff time, because they can't even compete in a game, never mind beat a team four times in a series.
And it's a hell of a place to be in. I mean, we talked about it going into this year. Even when the Bruins were starting off so poorly, it was like, well, someone's still going to need to step up in the division, whether it be, Ottawa, Detroit, Buffalo. And there was, some hope for those teams, those young teams, Montreal, and these 2 steps up, but young teams, and they have not taken that step. So it's like, all right, I guess we got to send the Bruins back out there into the postseason. That's what it feels like. And it's, it's a weird place to be. It is a weird place
stuck in mediocrity. I mean, that's what they're kind of stuck. They don't have high draft picks. They still don't have a 2nd round pick this year. They're still going to pick in the 20s. There's just not much there. There's the prospects pool is 32nd in the league or close to it.
If they could 33rd, I think they would. Yeah.
I don't know what they can do. I mean, anything short of throwing the bag at Jack Eichel or something is, if he's even available, is really all they can hope for.
Let's talk about that. So Eichel is going to be a free agent, UFA, full on after next season. And obviously, with how much Vegas has gone over the cap and needed to circumnavigate that, like they're already running into some problems, with Stone leaving and all that. So is there a possibility that anyone is going to have a shot at Jack Eichel this summer? And if so, is there any excuse for the Bruins not to just do anything in their power to get him?
Yeah, I mean, it would take, it would take some combination of McAvoy, Pasternak, Swayman, although Swayman's not commodity right now. So really you have two guys that really can even come close to bringing value in that kind of trade.
Coyle, Frederick in a second. You don't think that's going to...
Yeah, Freddie, Geeky, and who else can you throw? Max Jones.
Merkulov, throw him in there.
What did Monty used to say? Quality over quantity?
Yeah. That's baby. Quality,
I think. So they don't really have much there. I mean, it'd have to be, Lowry and Patra and all like that. And I don't even think that's enough, to be honest. So they're really in trouble when it comes to that, center position, goal scoring, trying to find really good offensive players. Mikko Rantanen's not even a center. Is going to ask for $14 million. Kirill Kaprizov is going to ask for $13-14 million. He's not a center. Like anybody who creates any type of really elite offense is just high priced or not available.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look like in the NFL, quarterbacks and left tackles. They don't get to market. They don't get to free agency.
No.
And if that did happen, like let's just play it out. I don't think that he will get to that UFA, but if he does, the salary cap's up. I'll give Eichel $15 million. I don't care, man. Like he's still taking.
Yeah, and at that point, it's going to take that. Like it's going to take that. And yes, I would. I mean, I would do everything you can to get in that range where you could give him that money because that's what you need. I mean, you need a top line center and they don't have it. So that's going to make them like the 80s, back in the 80s when they were just not quite good enough.
Just getting by
every single year. And that's what they're going to be. And, that's too bad. But right now, and look, Sweeney would have done something about it if he, this past offseason, if he could. He even knows that they're really in a bind. I mean, he threw all that money at Elias Lindholm, who is going to maybe get 40 points this year again. I mean, that's what we thought, though. Like, that's what we thought. My podcast partner had said it in the offseason. Like, don't throw money at that guy because he's closer to 40 points than he is to 80 points. And that's the truth,
And to go off that, Elias Lindholm, 13 points this year. Jake DeBrusk, 13 goals this year.
Well, here's the other thing about DeBrusk. I'll say this about DeBrusk.
I was ready to move on from DeBrusk. I will say, I was ready to be done.
I don't care that they don't have DeBrusk. I don't. And I think that people automatically saying that is kind of lazy. Like I don't care about that thing because let's be honest. He would be a major contributor to this mess right now because of just the nature of him and what's happened in the history with him and the team. Like he'd be part of the issue. Yeah. Trust me. Yeah. But they didn't do anything to replace him. Like that's the problem. That's what's awful,
Yeah, and he's a 50-point guy. So it's not like he's going to be a point a game guy. Like he's not going to be that.
No, he's a half a point a game guy, and that's fine. And he's a decent two-way player, and he's reliable, I guess, in a sense. But
I would think he'd help out your special teams a little bit.
Oh yes, well, see, that's a good point. Is that
you do have many more holes than that.
The penalty kill has taken on some real big hits with Krejci. Even Krejci was a penalty killer. Yeah. Bergeron, even Derek Forbort. I mean, they've changed a lot of personnel there, and I think they're starting to figure it out a little bit. They've been better there, but that took some time, and they weren't as good killing penalties. And of course, their power play is dog shit on a stick. So
it's so bad, man. Bad. I thought last year. Like this right now, this mediocrity is reminding me of the end of the Red Wings playoff streak, where they were clearly just trying to make the playoffs just to keep that going. And that was the only thing they really cared about. And everyone kind of aged out and they finally had to blow it up. And we're in year 10 of the rebuild in Detroit. So I remember last year seeing that Capitals team get into the playoffs, and I was like, this might be like the worst playoff team I've ever seen, like just skill wise. Like obviously they had Ovechkin and Oshie, but way in the twilight, right? And they got crushed by the Rangers. And I'm like, that's what the Bruins are going to be this year. They're just as talented.
Yeah. I see them going into a series with Toronto and getting swept. I think because Toronto will be looking for blood. They'd be hungry as all heck. And I think that any type of series, they're going to play either Toronto or Florida. Like that's how the league is designed the thing. So it's either going to be one of those two teams. And it's just, I mean, what do you do? I mean,
can we defer the option? I mean,
not even getting the goaltending to steal your games now. That was the case the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they didn't show up, their goaltending stole games. They haven't done that this year at all. In fact, they've lost games for them. Yeah. So, right now they're just sort of, and look, in a way, I kind of think that this is good for them long term because they need a new coach. They need a new GM. They need a whole new outlook. Like
everything.
They keep doing this. They can't,
It needs to be like a total organizational strip down. I mean, if we're being honest, it needs to be a strip down. They need a new identity. They need a new voice at the top. And as we've talked about in the past, it's like, if they make the playoffs, I don't even know if that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just think that's what they care about.
The Jacobs are not typically about that. They like to keep it in-house. They like to keep it private. They like to keep it close to the vest. They don't, I don't see them going out and getting XYZ who are completely outside of the organization. They like to keep it a little bit incestuous. And that's just kind of what they do, so.
And when we look at Sweeney, we talked about this in the summer. Like, I'm not ready to say like Sweeney's tenure has just been all terrible, but he's had 2 summers where he could spend money, and it's netted you David Backes, the late Jimmy Hayes, Matt Bolesky, Nikita Zadorov, Elias Lindholm, and Jeremy Swayman.
Yeah,
and like, they all suck. Like, they all suck. Yeah. I mean, Zadorov and Lindholm are just awful. And I think Lindholm's just hurting them at this point, not even washing it out. Like, and Swayman, for as much as we were kind of I was defending him, and a lot of Bruins fans were that first month of the season because everything else looked like such a mess. It's like, no, he sucks too. Like, if we're being honest, he is. And I look at the other end in that Winnipeg game the other night, they have the best fucking goalie in the league, and he's getting paid what, 7.5, less than 8 a year. And I got this guy bitching and moaning all fucking summer to get 8.25, and he's nowhere close to Hellebuyck. Like, nowhere close.
Doesn't it seem like the biggest, like, just like hoodwinked the team, like just the biggest scam in the world, like that he kind of rode the hot hand a bit, although he was playing half the time, but he did play well, and he was young, and he had the cachet and all this stuff, and you know how that happens, like the momentum builds, but he hasn't really shown that he can do it full time, that he can do it, take you on a playoff run. He hasn't shown any of that, but you're kind of forecasting that, and now it just seems like the biggest scam and fraud known to man. And now what? Like, now what?
Yeah,
so, and I'll be honest with you. I will guarantee you that you will hear murmurings about them trying to get rid of him in the offseason. Guaranteed.
If anyone will take him.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You're going to be selling at 30 cents on the dollar.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know about you. I think that's not a bad move, even if he does turn out to be a good goaltender again. Right. But, like, again, when you're talking about needing to rebuild this thing, having a goalie at 8.25, like, that's not helping anybody rebuild anything.
And I'll tell you, Sweeney doesn't necessarily ever admit mistakes. That would be admitting a mistake. And you know what? A good GM would be like, that's a mistake. We're going to get rid of it. And I don't think that's going to happen. So they're really in stuck in the mud mode.
Oh, it sucks.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, they need a miracle. They need someone to get to market and want to come. Or they need a team to, like, just be done with a guy, like a Pierre-Luc Dubois was, or Patrick Laine, like, just be done with a guy and let's get rid of him for 50 cents on the dollar. They need that thing. And those two things are really hard to come by.
When does Tage Thompson get a misdiagnosed injury in Buffalo?
Yeah, I know.
The way Eichel did. I mean, at some point, maybe. It's going to take that and like hitting in the mid-teens, early 20s of the draft.
I mean, for crying out loud, I'd take Alex Tuck right now. I'd take anybody.
That'd be nice.
There's a bunch of guys I would take that are, and that's why I had said, try to go sign Chandler Stevenson or Jake Gensel or someone else who wouldn't be as, Gensel was as expensive, but he scores 40 goals. Like the
Gensel thing looks better by the day, Matt. It looks better by the fucking day.
It does. I mean,
it was great in the summer, and it looks better now.
Don't chase the position. Get the guy who's proven goal scorer first, and then you can put Zacha in between Gensel and Pasternak and let it ride. Like they'll produce points just by mistake. But no, they chase the position. They chase a guy who's slightly below what his value really should be. And now this is what you have. Like you have a guy who's not what you need him to be. Like Elias Lindholm was a perfectly fine player, but in like that second to third line center role, not first line. He's not Patrice Bergeron. And the organization was telling you, trying to convince you that he was Bergeron Jr. It's not even close.
That's insulting.
It is insulting to Bergeron. It's not even close.
And our intelligence. Yeah.
Yes.
It's so bad.
It's not the first time that our intelligence has been.
No. In good times and in bad, I will say the Bruins do. They will insult our intelligence. They're not above that. Really. It's almost like they need Billy Beane here.
Yeah, I know it.
Chase the production. Chase the stats. Put him wherever the fuck you want on the ice. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's incredible. And Lord only knows what'll happen if, Sacco does keep this thing on the rails and they get in the playoffs and it's another year of Neely and Sweeney. Like, who the hell knows what their next.
Well, we said before, like they could lose these 5 games on this trip. They could absolutely lose all 5. And if they do, I really need to see what happens then, because it's possible. The Seattle, Calgary, Vancouver, Edmonton, they can lose them all. And, if they do, what happens then?
Yeah, the Western Canada teams are all better than you.
They're all better.
Seattle, toss-up, whatever. But you could lose any given night. You lost there last year.
I'd pick Seattle right now over you.
Yeah? Oh, this sucks, man.
Yeah.
It's bringing me down here.
But, who knows?
Anyway.
Oh, well.
Anyway. All right, I guess then that will lead me into my last question here. Do you see, like you talk about if they lose the rest of these games, we could see something, but just you having watched the Bruins for decades now, do you expect to see anything major happen with this team before the season ends?
Yes, I do. I think that at the deadline, someone, by the grace of God, will be exited from the actual current roster. I would bet it would be Frederick, but maybe it's somebody else.
But he one-punched that guy who's like never fought in his career. That was great.
He had 6 penalty minutes in his entire NHL career. Not that he didn't fight. He didn't touch a guy.
A guy that Don Cherry would just rip up and down for being weak-ass Euro trash. Yeah, you one-punched that guy. Congrats.
One-punched that guy. Gave him a concussion, a bloody head, and everything else. That was almost embarrassing for Frederick.
Yeah, and then Zadorov and Kastelik have to end up fighting real guys, which, that's what they're here for, whatever.
Well,
but
you know what?
It's like you throw them into that.
Like, Kastelik does what Frederick can do. So, see you later, dude. That's it. Like, that's it. So, I think, yes. I think, because it's not going to get better, and I think that, yes, they'll be floundering. They'll need to do something because, look, they're not completely stupid. They know what's behind them in the standings. They know they just need a little bump to guarantee the playoff spot. And that's really what they want. Like, that saves jobs for them. Wow. So I think that they'll see that and try to provide a little bit of a bump, and someone will go. And I think it's going to be Frederick. I do.
I wouldn't mind that. Matt Barry, the Bruins Benders podcast on the Cam Show every Thursday. New episode of the pod out today.
Out today.
Apple Podcasts, Inside the Rink YouTube, and plus you guys
late night. We're going late
night tonight. Little Bruins Benders after dark.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
You're gonna have to stay up and
take a nap.
Oh man. Well, we'll be tuning in, and we will have the full report from you next Thursday. Matt, really appreciate the time.
Okay, buddy. You bet.
And now we are going to talk Bill Belichick and that new move. Wow. Still a little wild. That's coming up next on the Cam Show.
Unlock your full potential with Onnit, your go-to for premium supplements, fitness gear, and wellness essentials. Whether you're training hard, recovering faster, or just looking to feel your best, Onnit has the tools you need to perform at your peak. Visit Onnit, that's ONNIT.com, and elevate your mind, body, and spirit today.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious. Find your blend at hempdelicious.com.
Get ready for epic savings at Best Buy. Right now, you can save up to $700 on select Alienware and Dell gaming products. Perfect for leveling up your gaming experience. Plus, grab the latest Android Google Pixel at an unbeatable price. Don't miss these incredible deals. Shop now at BestBuy.com and upgrade your tech today.
We are back, Cam Show, Rogue Media Sports Network. Just as we were coming down from the Garrett Crochet news yesterday, which right after the show, like you got to be kidding me. I'm literally uploading the segment about how the Red Sox are a bunch of losers. They don't go out and get anybody. And they trade for Garrett Crochet. The point still kind of stood because it was about paying for pitchers, but it still wasn't good. After that, in the wake of that, the big news that broke on Wednesday, Bill Belichick is, in fact, going to North Carolina. Take that, Pete. Pete was on here telling me I was lying and saying that he was going to get there. No, he's going to get there. And today, he is being introduced as the next head football coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels. What the hell? Like, if I had told you that 2 weeks ago, you'd be like, You're fucking nuts, man. Bill Belichick, the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, is going to be coaching a mid-level ACC team? Yeah, apparently. I still don't get it. I've watched and followed Belichick's every move for 25 years, and I don't understand it. I get it. The guy wants to coach. right? And that's ultimately, I guess, what it comes down to. But North Carolina, like, wait a month. NFL teams are going to be calling you, Bill. They're going to be. Maybe you just feel so dejected after last year only getting one interview or two interviews, but with one team. I guess. I'm seeing reports today that he just thinks the NFL is bullshit now. And I'm like, bro, if you think the NFL is bullshit, wait till you get to college football. College football is the biggest bullshit of anything in sports. I love it, but it's the whole thing is bullshit. I just can't imagine Belichick like sitting on these couches in families' homes and convincing a 17-year-old why he should come to North Carolina. It reminds me of this book, The Price, the Armen Keteyian book that came out earlier this year about the changing world of college football and NIL and all that. And Kirby Smart was talking about it, and he in the book, and he's saying, like, you know, you'd be crazy too if your whole world, your whole livelihood was decided by like the thoughts of 17-year-olds, you know, the minds of a teenager that's about to get a lot of money. Like, that would be a complete mind fuck. That's what Bill Belichick is walking into at age, what, 72? He's just walking into that. And, you know, they'll say Steven will do all the work. You know, Bill's not going to be sealing a deal or anything. But, like, there's bullshit to deal with. You know, you think putting up with Robert Kraft is bullshit? Try putting up with boosters. Like, he's literally never done that. He's only coached in the NFL. And to me, it's a bummer. And Pete and I were talking about it this way the other day. Like, it just stinks. He's the greatest coach in the history of the league. He's won 6 Super Bowls as a head coach, 8 in total. Now he's going to be coaching North Carolina. Like, is that going to be the swan song of his career? Getting Carolina to the ACC championship game? Like, he's going to be standing on the opposite sideline as Dabo is running down the field. He's going to coach a game at the University of Charlotte, University of North Carolina, Charlotte. Like, this year, I've already seen UCF already put up a graphic of him versus Scott Frost. It's like, that shouldn't even be allowed, you know? Oh, man, it's just really weird. So the rumors now, initially it sounded like 3 years for $30 million. Now we're hearing 5 years, but unclear on the total cost, although that will have to become clear. It's a public school, so we'll have to know. So somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 million a year. And in the midst of this, North Carolina, obviously not a football school, increased their NIL budget, or their football budget, I should say, from $4 million to $20 million. They are rumored to quintuple their football budget to get Belichick in the door, or since he's already here, this is what he's going to need. I don't know how much of that goes to his salary, but he's going to hire a ton of new staffers. Like, they're going to add a bunch of staffers to this, and he's going to need to pay players. This is going to be fascinating. Fascinating experiment by UNC. And I did a video about it the other day talking about how he would make it an NFL factory and how he's going to, you know, hit the transfer portal and, you know, treat it like an NFL franchise with this organizational manifesto. And someone commented like, well, Deion Sanders is doing all the same stuff at Colorado right now. Guys, for any of you thinking that, no, he's fucking not. No, he's not. Deion had a great year this year. He is not Bill Belichick. He has never coached in the NFL. He doesn't know how to run an NFL organization. Bill Belichick does. Just because Deion gets a lot of guys through the portal and he has like Warren Sapp on his coaching staff does not mean he is turning this into an NFL franchise. That's not the case at all, actually. What Belichick is going to be doing is going to be different from what we've ever seen from college football coaches. And whether it works, I don't fucking know. I don't know. I don't know what the definition of success is for a school like North Carolina. It probably is just getting to a conference championship game, maybe winning one, getting to a New Year's Six Bowl, a playoff with 12 teams in there. There's more room. But I just, It's just bizarre. Okay, like I don't know how many Super Bowl winning coaches have gone and coached and then afterwards coached in college. Any? I can think of one in my lifetime who coached in a Super Bowl and then coached in college, and that would be Lovie Smith at Illinois after taking the Bears to Super Bowl 41. But like this doesn't happen ever, let alone a guy who's won 6. Literally the best coach ever. And he's going to go coach North Carolina. Like, he's going to have to meet with a bunch of people with their Argyle sweaters and their wine and cheese after the game because they owe the program money. It's very odd. Like, is he going to be at the Dean Dome Saturday for a game against LaSalle? Like this, I don't know. I wonder what Lawrence Taylor has to play in this. The guy who initially made Belichick. I mean, we say it's Brady, but really he coached the best offensive player and best defensive player of all time, and he's a North Carolina alum. So it's going to be very interesting. But again, I just, if we just take this in a vacuum and use the bird's eye view, it's one of the craziest moves we've ever seen. To see a Super Bowl winning coach go and then coach in college and not even a premier job in college. Like not even close, really. North Carolina to being a premier college football coaching job. And does this change the culture at Carolina? I don't know. Probably not. But like seriously, how many times has a Super Bowl coach gone and coached in college? It just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And I saw someone tweeting, some dingus, tweeted, I can't make sense of Bill Belichick leaving a top 5 NFL franchise to coach at North Carolina. Let me debunk that, because Bill Belichick is not leaving a top 5 NFL franchise. He's leaving the broadcast booth. He's leaving inside the NFL. He's leaving the fucking Manning cast. He didn't have a job. It's not like he's just stepping up. Bye, Patriots. I'm going to go coach North Carolina. That's not what happened here. The guy needed a job or wanted a job. But I got to think, again, that in a month, he would have, and might still have his phone ringing off the hook with NFL coaching jobs, saying, hey, will you at least come interview? Will you come check us out? Let's talk. Jerry Jones was happy for Bill. And I know there's a faction of Cowboys fans that are pissed that he's not going to be coaching the Cowboys next year. Oh, man. It's a weird world we're living in right now that Bill Belichick is going to coach the North Carolina Tar Heels. And I could make some joke about his 24-year-old girlfriend, but you know what? I already have. I've already done it. I'm sure she's got some very attractive friends who would like to be on Brian Harson's staff. That's all. You know, it is funny that he will, in this age of the portal and getting all these extra years, he will have some players who are older than his girlfriend. And he will have some GAs who are younger than his girlfriend. So that'll be interesting. Would I accept the job on Bill Belichick's staff? It's a good question. He'd have to leave North Carolina. I'm sorry, guys. I can't do it. When your dad gives you this name, you can't do it. Anyway, I don't really have anything more to say about that, which is a real kind of sad ending to this show. We have had nothing break that I've seen during this show. The Cowboys are the most valuable team in the world. Can you guys believe that? The Cowboys, they win again. Jerry's 2 biggest wins this year. Bob Kraft not making the Hall of Fame, and the Cowboys being valued at $10 billion again. Congrats. Congrats to Jerry and America's team and the Dallas Cowboys. Zach, are you still there? Zach, you still rolling with us here? He's not. Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I am. Surprised that,
Oh, something's running behind schedule?
Oh, I'm a little fuzzy.
Someone
but yeah.
who's got the 1:00 show, I should say, is running behind schedule. Not the good folks that are behind the scenes at Rogue Media. Just a little bit?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Have we got any Have we got the wheels turning on your end on who the 92 Mr. Burns football team would include? I don't think he's taking any Randall Cunningham's crap. I think maybe I think Mr. Burns is racist.
Maybe Don Beebe. I feel like would be a solid wide receiver for him.
Yeah.
I think he would obviously love, like, he'd be a big Bills fan for some reason.
I think he would get enamored with Scott Mitchell
for
some reason. You know, big lefty.
Wait. Oh, okay.
There's no rhyme or reason to it, but he'll just be like, I like the cut of his jib.
Yeah.
He looks like a quarterback, Smithers. That was bad. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
It wasn't too bad. Or like a Gus Frerotte, somebody like that.
Yeah. He wouldn't take the crap from Barry Sanders running around. Thurman Thomas, more downhill runner, Bills guy. There you go.
Yeah. I don't know who would be like a deep like.
Oh, you know what? Ooh, I'd have to check. I don't know if this guy was in the NFL yet. Bill Romanowski.
Ooh, I'll look up that for you.
I think he was probably I think he was probably still at BC.
Where was it? 988. Damn it. I hate it when it does this. Hold on. No, he was in an 88 with the.
Oh, okay. See, I was way off. Yes, he would have Bill Romanowski and probably Chris Spielman too. He would love those guys, but mainly Romanowski. And then I think he would take the rest of the guards team from the 05 remake of The Longest Yard.
Yeah. No,
think that would work?
Yeah, no, I think so.
Oh man, Zach, I started watching the show, by the way, because we got to close this out.
Yeah,
I started watching the show on Netflix. I've got nothing going right now since I'm like exclusively work from home. It took 3 days for me to run out of stuff. So I started that JonBenet thing.
Oh yeah.
Like, I just like it is still interesting in a way, but I'm like I've heard enough JonBenet in my life, and now they've got this 3-part crime drama on Netflix called The Kings of Tupelo, Tupelo, Mississippi, about it wasn't anthrax, but that kind of like mail-in assassination attempt.
Yeah.
You remember that? It was like 10 or 12 years ago.
Vaguely,
Senator and Obama, when Obama was in office. And so they're getting behind the scenes of that. And the whole first episode has been about Elvis because these guys were brother Elvis impersonators. And I'm like, I'm in on this. Like I can do this.
Okay, I like that. So they were both Elvis impersonators.
Yes. So one of them is like the one who's clearly going to be charged with this crime. And like he's at an undisclosed location, lives in a trailer. And was like this epic fucking Elvis impersonator, like as a teenager, was like winning these massive competitions, doing Elvis impersonations. And his brother, who was older and like more successful, like jock, cool, all this kind of stuff, just one day decides to be an Elvis impersonator. And he's like a big time insurance salesman in Tupelo. And so like his commercials are him dressed as Elvis and everything. And they start this it's called Double Trouble. They're two Elvises and they're brothers.
Yeah.
And it's like a massive deal. So we're going through like kind of their rise to fame. It's very funny. And like everything in Tupelo is Elvis. It's Elvis's hometown. And it's like everything is Elvis. And I'm like, this is good. This is what, I've done the JonBenet thing. This is Americana. Okay. It's white trash. It's Elvis. I'm in on all of this. And a presidential, technically an assassination attempt. So it's got everything you could want so far. And I've watched like 25 minutes. So all that to say, that will not be the worst thing I watched this week.
I got you. Do we need to figure that out for tomorrow? Yeah. I got to figure out what
tomorrow.
I haven't watched much this week. Who knows? I might end up watching the worst thing I've watched this week tonight.
I hope so. That's my hope for you, Zach.
Thank you.
All that and more coming up tomorrow, including a Red Sox guest, very famous Red Sox guest on the show tomorrow. Be sure to like and subscribe. We're here high noon Eastern time every weekday live on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts. So we'll see you tomorrow on The Cam Show.
Transform your workspace with Hanomi Ergonomics. From adjustable chairs to standing desks, we provide solutions for comfort and productivity, whether at home or in the office. Improve your posture, reduce strain, and work smarter. Visit us at hanomi.co today. That's HINOMI.co today. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internex. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. Enjoy seamless, fast storage without compromising security. Visit Internext.com today and take control of your digital life. That's INTERNXT.com today. Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. Tusane's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Committed to excellence, we adopt a user-centric approach guided by ergonomics and medical science. With a team of seasoned professionals in R&D, design, and manufacturing, we prioritize quality across our entire product line. Visit Tusains.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.